Our ancestors grew crops that fed civilizations for thousands of years. Then we forgot they existed. These 7 ancient plants could revolutionize your garden and your diet. Modern agriculture focuses on maybe 20 crops: wheat, corn, rice, soybeans. You know the list. But our ancestors grew hundreds of crops we've completely forgotten about. Plants that thrived in difficult conditions, crops that required minimal input, foods that sustained entire civilizations for millennia. Then industrial agriculture happened. We standardized everything. We focused on high-yield hybrids that need chemicals and perfect conditions, and we let thousands of years of agricultural knowledge disappear. But these ancient crops still exist. Seed savers and heritage gardeners have preserved them, and they're absolutely worth growing in modern gardens. Today, I'm showing you 7 ancient crops we forgot how to grow, why they matter, and exactly how to grow them successfully in your garden today. Before we start, comment below. Have you ever grown any ancient or heirloom crops? What's your experience? I want to hear from you. And if you love learning about food history and growing unusual crops, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This channel goes deep into practical, interesting gardening. Let's start with a grain that built ancient civilizations, but almost nobody grows today. Crop 1. Amaranth, the Aztec superfood. Amaranth was a staple crop for the Aztecs, Mayans, and Incas. It fed millions of people for thousands of years. Then Spanish conquistadors banned it because of its use in religious ceremonies, and it nearly disappeared from cultivation. But amaranth is an incredible crop that deserves a comeback. The seeds contain complete protein, all 9 essential amino acids. That's rare in plant foods. It's higher in protein than wheat, corn, or rice. Plus, the leaves are edible and nutritious. You're getting 2 crops in one plant. Why we forgot it? After the Spanish conquest, amaranth cultivation was suppressed. It became associated with primitive agriculture. Modern farming focused on wheat and corn instead. Why you should grow it? Drought tolerant once established. Thrives in heat that wilts other crops. Grows in poor soil. No pests or diseases. Stunning ornamental appearance. Complete protein source. How to grow amaranth today. Planting. Direct seed after last frost when soil has warmed. Seeds are tiny. Mix with sand for easier distribution. Plant 1/4 inch deep in rows 18 to 24 inches apart. Location. Full sun. Tolerates poor soil but grows better with moderate fertility. Water. Water regularly until established, first 3 to 4 weeks. After that, drought tolerant. Maintenance. Thin seedlings to 12 to 18 inches apart. Plants grow 4 to 6 feet tall. Minimal care needed. Harvesting grain. When seed heads dry and feel crispy, usually 3 to 4 months after planting. Cut entire heads. Dry further indoors. Thresh by rubbing seed heads over a bucket or bin. Harvesting leaves. Pick young leaves throughout the growing season. Cook like spinach. Using amaranth grain. Pop like popcorn. Cook as hot cereal. Grind into flour or sprout for microgreens. Varieties to try. Hopi red dye. Traditional variety, brilliant red. Golden giant. High grain production. Elephant head. Stunning ornamental. Amaranth is easy, productive, and connects you to 8,000 years of agricultural history. Crop 2. Sorghum, Africa's ancient grain. Sorghum was domesticated in Africa over 5,000 years ago. It spread across the ancient world and became a staple in regions too hot and dry for other grains. In America, sorghum syrup was the primary sweetener before cheap refined sugar. Every farm had a sorghum patch. Then it disappeared from most gardens. Why we forgot it? Industrial sugar production made sorghum syrup obsolete. Grain varieties were replaced by corn and wheat. Modern Americans have never tasted it. Why you should grow it? Extreme drought tolerance. Survives conditions that kill corn. Heat-loving. Thrives in 90 to 100 degree Fahrenheit temperatures. Grows in poor soil. No special equipment needed. Grain sorghum for food or sweet sorghum for syrup. Naturally gluten-free grain. How to grow sorghum today. Choosing variety. Grain sorghum for edible seeds. Sweet sorghum for syrup production. Broom corn for decorative uses. Planting. Direct seed after soil reaches 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Plant 1 inch deep, 4 to 6 inches apart in rows 30 inches apart. Location. Full sun. Tolerates poor, dry soil better than almost any grain. Water. Water at planting. Drought tolerant once established. One of the most water-efficient crops. Growth. Plants reach 6 to 12 feet tall, depending on variety, minimal maintenance needed. Harvesting grain sorghum. Wait until seeds are hard, 100 to 120 days. Cut seed heads when fully dry. Thresh by beating or rubbing heads, winnow to separate grain. Harvesting sweet sorghum for syrup. Cut stalks when seeds are in soft dough, stage, before they harden. Strip leaves, crush stalks to extract juice. Boil juice down to syrup consistency. Using sorghum. Grain. Pop like popcorn, grind for flour, cook as porridge. Syrup. Use like molasses or maple syrup. Stalks. Livestock feed. Varieties to try. Dale. Sweet sorghum for syrup. White Milo. Grain sorghum. Mennonite. Heirloom grain variety. Sorghum is one of the most climate-resilient crops you can grow. As droughts increase, ancient crops like this become modern solutions. Crop 3. Teff, Ethiopia's tiny powerhouse. Teff is the smallest grain in the world. It takes 3,000 seeds to equal the weight of one wheat kernel. But this ancient Ethiopian grain is a nutritional powerhouse that thrives where other crops fail. Teff has been cultivated in Ethiopia for over 6,000 years. It's the grain used to make injera, the spongy flatbread central to Ethiopian cuisine. Why we forgot it. Teff never spread beyond Ethiopia and Eritrea in any significant way. Western agriculture ignored it completely because the seeds are so tiny and difficult to process mechanically. Why you should grow it. High in iron, calcium, and protein, naturally gluten-free, grows in 60 to 90 days, fast for a grain. Drought tolerant, thrives in heat, grows in poor soil, no known pests or diseases. How to grow teff today. Planting. Direct seed after last frost. Mix tiny seeds with sand for even distribution. Broadcast over prepared soil and rake in lightly. Don't cover deeply. Seeds need light to germinate. Location. Full sun. Tolerates poor soil remarkably well. Water. Keep moist until germination, 1 to 2 weeks. Once established, drought tolerant. Growth. Plants grow 2 to 4 feet tall, resembling delicate ornamental grass. Ready to harvest in 60 to 90 days. Harvesting. When seed heads turn golden brown and seeds easily fall when rubbed, cut entire plants. Bundle and hang to dry completely indoors. Threshing. This is challenging because seeds are so small. Rub dried seed heads over a tarp or sheet. Winnow carefully to separate chaff. Using teff. Grind into flour for flatbreads and baking. Cook whole as porridge. Cook 4 to 1 water to grain ratio. Use flour in gluten-free baking blends. Varieties to try. Brown teff, most common, nutty flavor. Ivory, strash, white teff, milder, traditional for injera. Reality check. Teff is challenging to thresh and process by hand because of seed size. But even a small harvest provides unique gluten-free flour you can't buy easily. This is a crop for adventurous gardeners interested in Ethiopian food culture. Crop 4. Emmer wheat. Emmer wheat, the grain that built civilizations. Emmer wheat is one of the first crops humans ever domesticated, over 10,000 years ago. It fed ancient Egypt, Rome, and Mesopotamia. It built the agricultural revolution. Then modern wheat varieties replaced it completely, and emmer nearly went extinct. Why we forgot it. Modern wheat varieties produce higher yields with mechanical harvesting. Emmer has hulls that require extra processing. Industrial agriculture dropped it entirely by the mid-1900s. Why you should grow it. More nutritious than modern wheat, higher protein, minerals. Many people with wheat sensitivities tolerate ancient wheats better. Grows with minimal inputs, disease-resistant, drought-tolerant, doesn't require synthetic fertilizers, superior flavor, nutty, complex. How to grow emmer wheat today. Planting. Broadcast or drill seeds in fall, most regions, or early spring, very cold climates. Plant 1 to 2 inches deep. Use 2 to 3 pounds of seed per 1,000 square feet. Location: full sun. Prefers well-drained soil but tolerates poor conditions. Growth cycle: fall planted. Overwinters, grows in spring, harvests early summer. Spring planted, grows through summer, harvests late summer. Maintenance: almost none Emmer evolved without modern agricultural inputs. It takes care of itself. Harvesting: when wheat is golden brown and seeds are hard, bite test, should be too hard to dent. Cut stalks close to ground. Bundle into sheaves and lean together to dry. Traditional shock method. Threshing: beat dried bundles against a tarp or inside a barrel to separate grain, or use old-fashioned method. Spread on tarp and beat with a stick. Winnowing: pour grain slowly from one container to another in a breeze. Chaff blows away, grain falls into container. Dehulling: this is the challenge with Emmer. Grain has hulls that need removing. Small amounts can be dehulled by hand, tedious, or grind whole grain with hulls into flour. The hull fiber increases nutrition. Using Emmer: grind into flour for bread, pasta, baking. Cook whole berries as grain, like rice or farro. Sprout for salads and sandwiches. Or it's where to find seed. Search for Emmer wheat seed or farro seed. Same grain. Heritage seed companies carry it. Growing your own grain connects you to 10,000 years of human agriculture. There's something profound about that. 4 ancient crops down, grains our ancestors depended on for survival, but modern agriculture abandoned. If you're fascinated by food history and want to grow these yourself, hit that like button right now. This content needs to reach more people. And the next 3 crops include vegetables and legumes that nearly disappeared from human cultivation. Stay with me. Crop 5, Tepary beans, the desert survivor. Tepary beans are native to the Sonoran Desert and were domesticated by indigenous peoples over 5,000 years ago. These beans thrive in conditions that would kill regular beans: extreme heat and minimal water. They sustained desert communities for millennia. Then commercial bean varieties replaced them, and Tepary beans nearly vanished. Why we forgot them? Tepary beans are smaller than common beans with lower yields. Commercial agriculture wanted standardization and high yields, so Tepary beans were abandoned. Why you should grow them? Extreme drought tolerance, grows with 8 to 10 inches annual rainfall. Heat tolerance, thrives in 100 degrees Fahrenheit plus temperatures. Fastest cooking bean, 20 to 30 minutes versus 1 to 2 hours for other beans. High protein and fiber, unique flavor, nutty, slightly sweet. Perfect for climate change gardening. How to grow Tepary beans today. Planting: direct seed after soil reaches 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Plant 1 inch deep, 4 to 6 inches apart in rows 24 to 36 inches apart. Location: full sun, thrives in poor, dry soil. Actually performs worse with too much water and fertility. Water: water at planting to initiate germination, then water minimally. Tepary beans evolved in desert conditions. Overwatering reduces yields and invites disease. Growth: bush varieties grow 1 to 2 feet tall. Vining varieties can reach 6 feet. Vining types produce higher yields. Maintenance: almost none. These beans evolved without irrigation or fertilization. Harvesting: let pods dry completely on the plant. When pods are crispy and rattle when shaken, harvest shell out dried beans. Storing: store dried beans in airtight containers. They last years. Using Tepary beans, cook in soups and stews, incredibly fast cooking time. Refried beans, bean salads, traditional Native American dishes, varieties to try. White Tepary, most common, mild flavor. Brown Tepary, nuttier, more traditional. Blue speckled Tepary, beautiful, unique flavor. Where to find seed? Native seeds, Joshua search. Seed Savers Exchange, Specialty bean suppliers. As climate change brings more drought and heat, Tepary beans are a glimpse of climate-adapted agriculture. Our ancestors knew what they were doing. Crop 6. Sea kale, the forgotten perennial vegetable. Sea kale grows wild on coastal cliffs across Europe and was cultivated extensively in Victorian kitchen gardens. It was considered a delicacy. Forced white shoots eaten like asparagus. Then it completely disappeared from cultivation. Most gardeners today have never heard of it. Why we forgot it? Sea kale requires more knowledge than annual vegetables. It takes 2 to 3 years to establish. Modern gardening focuses on instant results and annual vegetables. Complex perennial vegetables were abandoned. Why you should grow it? Perennial. Plant once, harvest for 10 plus years. Produces edible shoots, leaves, and flowers. Salt-tolerant, perfect for coastal gardens. Drought-tolerant once established. Beautiful ornamental plant with blue-gray foliage. Unique flavor. Nutty, slightly bitter like broccoli meets asparagus. How to grow sea kale today. Starting plants. From seed. Plant in fall or stratify seeds. Germination is slow and erratic. From root cuttings, thongs. Easiest method. Plant in early spring. From divisions. Divide established plants in early spring. Planting. Space 24 to 36 inches apart. Sea kale needs room to spread. Plant crowns 2 inches deep in well-drained soil. Location. Full sun to light shade. Tolerates poor, sandy, or gravelly soil. Excellent drainage is critical. First year. Let plants establish. Don't harvest. Remove flowers if they appear. Second year. Allow one light harvest. Let plant continue building strength. Third year plus. Full production begins. Forcing for white shoots, traditional method. In late winter, cover plants completely with large pots or buckets to exclude light place weight on top. Shoots grow in darkness and emerge white, tender, and mild. Harvest when shoots reach 6 to 8 inches. Cut below soil level. Harvesting leaves. Young spring leaves can be cooked like kale or collards. Older leaves become tough. Harvesting flowers. Unopened flower buds are edible, like broccoli. Using sea kale. Forced shoots. Steam or sauté, serve with butter or hollandaise. Young leaves. Cook like cabbage. Flower buds. Steam like broccoli. Where to find plants? Specialty perennial nurseries, heirloom vegetable sources, rare but available. Sea kale represents a whole category of perennial vegetables we've forgotten. It's time to rediscover them. Crop 7. Scorzonera. The black oyster plant. Scorzonera, also called black salsify or black oyster plant, was a common vegetable in European gardens for centuries. It was prized for its unique flavor. Said to taste like oysters, hence the name, then it completely vanished from most seed catalogs and gardens. Why we forgot it? Scorzonera takes 4 to 5 months to produce roots. Modern gardening favors fast-growing vegetables. Plus, the roots look strange, black-skinned and unusual. Visual appeal matters in commercial agriculture, and Scorzonera doesn't photograph well. Why you should grow it? Perennial. Roots can remain in ground, harvest as needed. Extremely cold hardy, improves with freezing, like parsnips. Unique sophisticated flavor, nutritious, high in inulin, minerals. Beautiful yellow flowers, almost no pests or diseases. How to grow Scorzonera today. Planting. Direct seed in early spring. Seeds are large and easy to handle. Plant 1/2 inch deep, 3 to 4 inches apart in rows 12 inches apart. Location. Full sun to partial shade. Prefers loose, deep soil for straight root development. Raised beds are ideal. Soil preparation. Because roots grow long and straight, prepare beds deeply. Add sand to heavy clay soil. Water. Keep moderately moist. Don't overwater. Roots can rot. Growth. Plants develop grass-like leaves and grow slowly. Don't be alarmed by slow progress. First year. Roots can be harvested but are small. Better to wait. Second year plus. Harvest any time after first frost. Cold improves flavor. Harvesting. Dig carefully with garden fork to avoid breaking roots. Roots are 8 to 12 inches long and fragile. Using Scorzonera. Black skin is bitter. Peel it. Roots oxidize quickly when cut, so place in acidulated water. Water with lemon juice. Cooking methods. Boil or steam until tender, 20 to 30 minutes. Roast like parsnips, cream soups, gratins, sauté in butter. The flavor is subtle, nutty, and yes, slightly reminiscent of oysters. It's unlike anything else. Varieties to try. Duplex, most common. Gigante, large roots. Russian giant, heirloom. Where to find seed? European seed companies, specialty heirloom suppliers, more common in Europe than America. Scorzonera represents sophisticated vegetables that modern gardens have lost. Growing it connects you to centuries of culinary history. 7 ancient crops that fed civilizations, sustained cultures, and then nearly disappeared from human knowledge. What questions do you have? Which of these crops are you most interested in growing? Drop a comment and let me know, and make sure you're subscribed, because understanding why these crops matter is just as important as knowing how to grow them. Why ancient crops matter today. Let's talk about why rediscovering these crops isn't just interesting history, it's critical for our future. Reason 1. Climate adaptation. Every single crop we covered is more climate resilient than modern varieties. Amaranth, drought and heat tolerant. Sorghum, extreme drought tolerance. Teff, thrives in poor soil and variable moisture. Emmer wheat, disease resistant, low input. Tepary beans, desert adapted. Sea kale, salt and drought tolerant. Scorzonera, cold hardy, perennial. As climate becomes more variable, we need crops that survive stress without intensive inputs. Modern high-yield varieties require perfect conditions. Ancient varieties evolved to handle adversity. Reason 2. Genetic diversity. Modern agriculture has narrowed our genetic base dangerously. We grow maybe 20 crops globally, often just a few varieties of each. This makes our food system incredibly vulnerable. One disease or pest can devastate entire crops because there's no genetic diversity for resistance. Ancient crops represent genetic diversity we desperately need. They contain traits for disease resistance, climate adaptation, and nutritional quality that we've bred out of modern varieties. Reason 3. Nutritional superiority. Many ancient crops are more nutritious than modern counterparts. Amaranth, complete protein. Teff, high in iron and calcium. Emmer, higher protein and minerals than modern wheat. Tepary beans, higher protein and fiber than common beans. Modern breeding prioritized yield and appearance, often at the expense of nutrition. Reason 4. Low input agriculture. Every ancient crop we covered thrives with minimal inputs. They evolved without synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, or irrigation systems. They're naturally adapted to grow with less. As input costs rise and environmental concerns grow, low-input crops become increasingly valuable. Reason 5. Food security dependence on a handful of crops is risky. When those crops fail due to disease, drought, or pests, we're in trouble. Diversifying what we grow provides insurance. Ancient crops offer that diversity. Reason 6. Cultural heritage. These crops carry cultural significance for the peoples who developed them over thousands of years. Growing them preserves knowledge, honors heritage, and maintains connections to agricultural history. Reason 7. Flavor diversity. Let's be honest, modern vegetables are bred for shipping, storage, and appearance. Flavor is secondary. Ancient varieties were selected for flavor over generations. They taste different, unique, often better. Growing ancient crops expands your culinary repertoire. The bigger picture. We're at a critical moment in agricultural history. Climate change, resource depletion, and biodiversity loss threaten our food system. Ancient crops aren't a complete solution, but they're part of it. They prove that alternatives exist, that we don't have to depend entirely on industrial monoculture. Every gardener who grows ancient varieties helps preserve genetic diversity and agricultural knowledge. You're not just growing food, you're participating in conservation, maintaining biodiversity, and preserving options for future generations. That matters. It genuinely matters. Practical tips for success. Let's get practical. Here's how to actually succeed with ancient crops. Tip 1. Start with 1 or 2. Don't try growing all 7 at once. Pick 1 or 2 that interest you most and match your climate. Hot, dry climates. Amaranth, sorghum, Tepary beans. Cool, moist climates. Sea kale, Scorzonera, Emmer wheat. Variable climates. Teff, Amaranth, start small, learn, expand later. Tip 2. Source seed. Carefully. Ancient crops aren't at big box stores. You need specialty sources. Recommended suppliers. Native seeds, search. Southwestern crops, Tepary beans. Seed Savers Exchange. Wide variety of heirlooms. Baker Creek heirloom seeds. Good selection. Territorial Seed Company. West Coast varieties. European suppliers. For Scorzonera and sea kale research suppliers. Read reviews. Order early. Some varieties sell out. Tip 3. Accept different standards. Ancient crops don't produce like modern hybrids. They're not supposed to. Yields may be lower. Growth may be slower. Appearance may be different. That's okay. You're growing these for different reasons. Flavor, resilience, diversity, interest. Don't judge ancient crops by modern standards. They excel in different areas. Tip 4. Save seeds. Most ancient crops are open-pollinated. You can save seeds and replant year after year. This is crucial. Commercial seed companies may not carry these varieties consistently. By saving seed, you ensure continued access. Seed-saving basics. Let plants fully mature. Harvest seeds when completely dry. Store in cool, dry location. Label clearly with variety and year. Tip 5. Document everything. Ancient crops have less published information than common vegetables. Your experience becomes valuable data. Record planting dates, days to maturity, yield estimates, flavor notes, growing challenges, what worked. This information helps you improve and helps others who want to grow these crops. Tip 6. Connect with other growers. Join seed-saving organizations, heritage gardening groups, and online communities focused on heirloom varieties. Organizations to join. Seed Savers Exchange, Slow Food USA, local seed libraries, heritage vegetable preservation groups. Other growers provide invaluable advice, seed sources, and support. Tip 7. Be patient with perennials. Sea kale and Scorzonera are perennials that take time to establish. Don't expect immediate results. Year 1 is about establishment. Year 2 is light production. Year 3+ is full production. Patience pays off with perennials. Once established, they produce for years with minimal care. Tip 8. Prepare for processing. Some ancient crops require more processing than modern varieties. Grains need threshing, separating grain from stalk. Winnowing, removing chaff. Sometimes de-hulling research processing methods before planting. Make sure you're willing to do the work. Tip 9. Experiment with preparation. Ancient crops may require different cooking methods than you're used to. Research traditional recipes from cultures that originally grew these crops. They figured out the best preparation methods over centuries. Ethiopian recipes for teff. Native American recipes for Tepary beans. Victorian recipes for Scorzonera. These traditional methods unlock the crop's potential. Tip 10. Share your harvest. Ancient crops are conversation starters. Share them. Teach others. The more people grow these crops, the better preserved they are. You're part of a preservation movement. Share seeds. Share knowledge. Share the harvest. And there you have it. 7 ancient crops our ancestors depended on. why we forgot them, and exactly how to grow them successfully in your garden today. From amaranth and sorghum to Tepary beans and Scorzonera, these crops represent thousands of years of agricultural wisdom we nearly lost. Growing them isn't just about producing food, it's about preserving genetic diversity, maintaining cultural heritage, and preparing for a more uncertain climate future. Every ancient variety you grow helps ensure these crops don't disappear completely. You're participating in agricultural conservation just by gardening. Here's what I want you to do right now. First, hit that like button. If this opened your eyes to crops you'd never heard of, this information needs to reach more people who care about food diversity. Second, leave a comment telling me which ancient crop you're most interested in growing. Or tell me about other forgotten crops you think should be rediscovered. I want to hear from you. And third, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. I dive deep into practical, interesting gardening topics that go beyond the basics. Next week, I'm covering ancient food preservation methods that don't require refrigeration or electricity. You'll want that knowledge. Thanks for watching. Now go find some ancient seeds, plant them, and become part of preserving agricultural history. These crops fed civilizations. They sustained cultures. They adapted to challenges, and they deserve to be. Thanks for watching. Now go find some ancient seeds, plant them, and become part of preserving agricultural history. These crops fed civilizations. They sustained cultures, they adapted to challenges, and they deserve to be remembered and grown. Your garden can be more than just food production. It can be a living museum of agricultural heritage. I'll see you in the next one. Happy planting, and keep these ancient traditions alive.